All right, so we are live. Perfect. Hi, everyone. Whoever joined us so far, we're going to give some time for others to join us. We'll start in about 5 minutes. My name is Yarek. Who Buys Houses, some of you guys know. I have here Fuquan, Bilal, who is an expert in real estate, but mostly niche, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. We'll be covering some topics that you guys might be interested in, where you also can, ask questions, right? It's mostly important for you guys to do is to be interactive, ask questions. Most of the time, whatever question you have or might have, another person might have the same question. So don't be scared. Make sure you ask those questions because we are here for you guys. We are here to provide some knowledge. I'll just be doing most of the, asking questions and making sure that you guys get your information that you request from us. So I'm super excited to bring you some of the gems that the real estate has to offer.
Looking forward to it.
So tell me, how's the COVID been treating you with this whole lockdown and so on? How's
Oh, it's been great, man. It's actually it's been a blessing. Because it gave a lot of us time to really go deeper within, meaning a lot of people wasn't exercising, a lot of people wasn't spending time with their family. So for me, it's been great. I was able to dig deeper with my team and make better connections. So it's been a blessing for me. Everybody's safe though in my family. So
good? Happy to hear that. I myself had the virus, 3 months back. So yeah, I got through it. It's like the strong flu for me at least. I know some people lost their lives, but it's a crazy time to live in. Like you said, I also agree with you, brother. To me, I think 2020 is gonna be my best year. I had some, downfalls here and there, but I feel moving forward, this is an amazing time to either be crushed by it or take an opportunity of, becoming bigger and stronger from what we can move forward with.
absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me any goals or any plans for 2020 moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this like you mentioned. It started off shaky. A lot of people didn't know what was going to happen. It was doom and gloom. I just decided to make it the best year ever. So for me, it's really focusing on my core team, the people who make what I do easy by playing their part and building those guys up. That's really, what I'm focusing on now. We're going into Q4 and we just want to end the year strong.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, yeah. Time flew. With the lockdown, time definitely flew by this year. It's not none of us could predict this, but I've been going through a lot of events and networking, and the big subject was the next dip, the next correction, and I guess this is it. This is the correction that we are facing here.
Yeah, the Black Swan event.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something, and the crazy thing is the entire world is in the same situation as we are, right? So it's not like just us. Everybody's feeling it. Everybody's in it. Everybody is, has to be safe and moving forward. And it's really up to us, the mindset that we keep. Yeah. All right, we're gonna give a few minutes more. Again, guys, make sure to post your questions as we do the interview, as we do the live podcast. So definitely want to hear what you guys are thinking, your feedback. If you love it or hate it, either way, share. Let us know how to improve and move forward and how to grow. Yeah, I'm super excited to talk about success tax lien investing. So that's an interesting subject, something different. There are different, definitely. As I say, real estate is a big machine, right? It has so many niches within. You could be doing wholesaling, you could be flipping, you could be, cash flow. You could be, even how you purchase your properties is different ways of doing it. This is definitely one way. Tax liens, how to invest in it, how to take the opportunity. Would you say moving forward, tax liens are going to increase? Decrease? How is the industry moving in your niche?
Well, this is something that's always been around. It's not something that's new. It's something I learned, probably 10, 12 years ago. Knew the strategy and how to do it, but never really took action. You go to a lot of these seminars, you hear different speakers who invest in certain things, and you actually, have something that you can start with. But most people have the fear and they don't get started.
Yeah.
So for me, this has been around for years. It's been around for years, and what really made me take action to get involved was one of my sources that I buy properties from, one of the hedge funds. This is all they do is tax liens. They buy them up and they foreclose on them, and then they sell them to investors like myself. And when I was actually doing transactions with these guys and I was looking at what they were getting the properties for, I was like, wow,
right,
I need to be doing this. I need to cut the middleman out.
Once it tastes the forbidden fruit. There we go. So all right, so let's go ahead and start. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, my name is Yari, who buys houses. I am here with an amazing person who has experience in tax lien and investing. So we're gonna be talking about successful tax lien investing. Fuquan, Bilal is here with us. I want you to share for the new guys who might not know you, who are new to the business, right? Who want to get into it. Who are you? Meaning, what have you learned? What exactly do you specialize in? What is your niche? And how can we benefit from this live video?
Oh, that's awesome. So Fuquan Bilal, my company is NNG Capital Fund. So NNG Capital Fund specializes in sourcing and acquiring hard-to-get assets at discounts not available to the vast majority of investors. Now, we've been applying decades of experience in proven systems along with our dedication to sustainable investing. We unlock true potential of these assets and maximize their value and performance, with elite management. I'm really grateful for my team that I have to make everything, a smooth process. Now, I've been doing real estate for about 20 years. I just didn't get started. I started off doing fix and flips, and when the market crashed, I started doing short sales. A few years later, 2011, late 2011, I started to do notes. And most of the people know me as a note guy. I run a couple of funds doing second mortgages and built mastery in that space. And probably I would say 2015, I started to really turn up more on real estate, meaning I had access to banks direct who had REOs for sale. And I started doing a lot of that. 2.5 years ago, I saw a big shift in the market where prices started to go up. And it was harder to get deals at a good bargain. So I always wanted to be in a different space than everybody else, chasing deals on MLS or doing seller direct, everybody competing for the same lead, sending the same postcard to the same seller.
Right.
So I started to look at what was happening in the towns. I started to look at vacant and abandoned properties and how to acquire these properties that were sitting on a property tax roll and nothing being done about it. So I started to go to the different townships, ask questions, how do you get access to these properties and who owns them? A lot of the properties people don't know through sewer liens or through other liens, the city and township actually foreclose on these properties and hold them on their books. And sometimes they do vacant land auctions, they'll do tax auctions, they'll do a variety of different things to try to get the properties back on their tax roll and also revitalize the area. Now, what giving my feeling of importance in real estate is I'm from North New Jersey. I grew up, I'm from the mud. So basically, for me to go back into these areas and rehab these properties give me a feeling of importance. So going to these different townships in Essex County and Passaic County, where I've been investing the last 20 years and just inquiring about different information, I found out that they have two types of tax auctions. One is a special tax lien auction and one is the regular tax auction, where you go first quarter, whoever didn't pay any taxes, you buy tax liens, and then you can buy 1 quarter liens or 2 quarters, whatever. Over time, the person eventually redeems, and you make 18% or whatever. You can make up to 18% or whatever, and that's more of a passive play. I didn't want to go that route. A lot of I was telling before we started the presentation, what intrigued me about it was I learned this maybe 12 years ago, the strategy and how to do it, but I never took action. And the reason that I took action was one of my sources that I buy properties from is a fund that sells tax liens. And I always wanted to know, how was they getting it at this cheap? So I started to investigate, and the whole thing was to cut out the middleman, right? So I started to attend the auctions first, just watching how it go, who were the players there, because that's how you raise money also. You go to auctions You see people bidding at a surf sale or whatever, you know they got the bag. So you just can make connections with them, and those could be your private investors or your sources for deals. So by me doing that, attending various auctions, I started to learn how the bidding process worked and everything the process was. So now I saw the reward that they were getting, so I had to look at what was the risk. So what I did was I started to ask the townships, hey, when you guys, foreclose and take these properties back through municipal liens, what attorneys do you use? And I went to each municipality to figure out what attorney the municipality was using. And then I got that information. I contacted that attorney who was already doing stuff for the town and started to pick their brain. What's my risk? How can I lose my money? What's the redemption process? What types of foreclosures are there? Because people don't know. There's two types, in rem foreclosure and in persona. So one is faster, which everyone wants to go for, which is the in rem, but it's more risk because you could be redeemed easy if you go that route. So when I started to learn the different ways you could lose money and make money, I was like, okay, now I'm ready. But I still wasn't ready because it learned by trial by error. So I went to an auction and I was very successful at the first auction. I was awarded 13 out of 12 properties that I bid on. Now, basically the risk is it's only drive by. I mean, you have to, do what you got to do your due diligence on the property, but you can only drive by the property, right? You can't go inside. You can only just drive by, take a look. And you have to run your due diligence on what it will cost you. So it's very hard to determine things like if there's structural defects, if there's sheetrock on the wall and stuff like that, because you can only do with so much. So you have to be very careful on what you bid on. So long story short, I went these properties and I was very successful. I was able to foreclose on about 12 out of 13 of them. And I went with the in persona process. It takes about 10 to 12 months, but it's a real foreclosure process, like a sheriff sale foreclosure where they get served, everything else. So it's really hard for them to redeem once you go through that in persona process. So I was very successful on it, but it was a special tax lien, which is different than most tax lien auctions. This one was you can't assign it, right? So there's so many different things you can do in a regular tax lien auction. You can buy the tax lien, you can season it for a couple of months and assign it over to somebody, get your money back and keep doing the same thing. A lot of guys in the space, they do that. Some people go the 2 years. In New Jersey, it's 2 years. You have to let it season before you can start the foreclosure process. And then there's a year redemption period. And that's the basic way. So the special tax lien auction, these are liens that the townships have already foreclosed on. And basically now they're just assigning it over to you. And now you have to go through your process where you're foreclosing on the current owner. Or the township, the taxes accumulated, nobody paid it. So now the township is putting these block of taxes out for auction. And the unique thing about it is they usually block these properties together, whereas a regular tax auction is 101. At a special tax lien auction, they'll block 3 properties for one price. So essentially for $100,000, you can get 3 or 4 properties. So
that's a good or a bad thing, in your opinion, when they put them together? I mean, you are getting more deals, but are they also putting deals that are not that good?
Yeah, they're stacking. And what they do it geographically. So they may put, if it's 3 properties on one block that's dilapidated, vacant, need work, back taxes, they'll put all those together on one block. But they'll try to pair them up because the goal is, and they have special restrictions too, like you can't assign it, you can't sell it unless you get the CO, and the only way you get the CO is if you fix it. Right? And the whole goal of it is to force you to revitalize the area, right? Yeah, but it's not for everybody because everybody want quick money. They want to get in, make the bag, and just get out. But you actually have to revitalize the property. There's a lot of paperwork you got to send them before, after, progress pictures. There's a lot of paperwork that goes along with it. You got to, keep updates. There's a lot. It's just not you win at the auction, you fix it and sell it. There's a lot behind the scenes with the different the urban departments and stuff in the townships. But it's worth it, especially if your goal is, of course you want to make money, but also you're adding value to the community and you revitalizing the area, helping the township put these properties back on the tax roll. And in most cases, you can do, if you're holding them as rentals, it's great because you can do abatements. You can, do certain things where you can defer taxes being increased for 5 years or more, and they will do that for you. So it's if it's a buy and hold. But special thing also, sometimes you got to rent to subsidy and everything else. They put certain restrictions on it And a lot of people don't want to do it. Plus, if you go at the auction, you got to have a bag. You got to be able to, when you win a bid, you got to come with a check to pay for it. So, and that's one thing which deters a lot of people because they have finance and they have a hard money lender when they're doing deals, and hard money lenders typically won't get involved unless you already own the asset.
Right. So what for newbies, right, when they're going out to the auctions and they're sitting through these auctions and they're bidding, what are they really looking for? Is in like, so what do they have to put down when they do bid? You know, when
yeah, so the bid usually in certain towns is different. Some require maybe $5,000. You have to come with a certified check of $5,000. You give it to them, and then basically when you win the auction, you got to have the rest of the money. You know, they give you a chance to run to the bank, go get your certified check, and come back. And what some people try to do is put that $5,000 down. Then when they win it, then they go and try to raise the money in a couple of hours or partner with people, you know, which is cool. And then they bring the certified check and they buy it. Pretty much go from there. But that's one part. The next part is now you have to do the foreclosure, which can take 10 months and you can be redeemed in that process. I've been in auctions where people just spent, you know, $60,000, $70,000 for a lien, pay the auctioneer 10%. And, you know, 4 or 5 hours later, somebody come in and redeem the taxes and they lose that auctioneer fee. Wow. So, yeah. So, you know, it's pretty risky, but there's a lot of rewards. I mean, the way I look at it is, right, for me, I did a lot of notes. I've done a couple of thousand notes. And when we go to buy notes, we always bought pools. And when we buy pools,
so notes, what is a note to those?
So a note basically is when you go buy a property, you sign the note in the mortgage. If you default on it, then the banks can sell it to someone else. I would buy it and then reach out to the homeowner, do a workout, and now I become the bank. So when I would buy those assets, I would buy them in pools. And out of 10, or say if I bought 10 loans, you know, 5 may go bad and 5 may be good, or 7 may go bad, 3 may be good. But, you know, when I made the purchase, the weighted average, I always use the weighted average strategy, where those 3 that were good were still profitable. On the 7 I lost. So when I started to buy tax liens, I buy the same strategy. I buy in bulk, knowing that some of them are going to be redeemed, some of them are going to fall out, I'm going to lose money. So I use that strategy as I'm buying a pool. Now, if you buy one loan, then you lose your money. If you buy one tax lien, then it becomes risky. So for me, being able to go and, like, I'm not going to go unless I have a couple $1 million to spend, because it's not going to make sense. You know what I mean? If I buy 2, it's a high risk. I can lose my money or be redeemed, especially if it's an auction situation. But if I buy 15 or 20, it's more likely that I'm going to make a decent 20, 30% return. So
it's a numbers game.
Absolutely. And that's the way I treat it. I mean, a lot of people don't understand. I went to one auction where I bid $330,000 on an 18-unit building. This building was worth $2.5 million. It needed probably about a couple $100,000 renovation because it was a fire. Some units burnt out. And then when I left the auction, a friend of mine, well, not a friend of mine, guy who was my friend now, he came to me and said, listen, that property's under contract and it may be closing soon. So he's like, you might lose that $30,000 auctioneer fee you paid. And I'm like, okay, if it happened, it happened. But he didn't understand why I was like, not so like, oh my God, because I purchased 18 other liens in that auction. So if I lost that one, I still had 17 more where I can make up that $30,000. He just didn't understand that, you know, that concept. So,
so pretty much you use, as I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, so you use tax lien as an investing where you find leads, right? This is how you pretty much get the properties, right? So you're an investor yourself who is actually renovating these properties. Either you're flipping them or you're renting them out, right? Which one are you leaning towards? Are you usually a flipper or a renter, or is it both equally? How are you?
Yeah, I mean, everything's always for sale, right?
There you go.
I don't have no loyalty to property, so you know, it just depends. I mean, if it was a single family, of course, it's going to be sold. If it's a single family, it's a multifamily. You know, I want to keep it, especially if it's a cash cow. You know, want to hold on to it, refinance it once I, you know, foreclose on it, refinance, leverage it, and go that route. So yeah, that's really usually the strategy. It just depends on how many units it is and, you know, what I can get for it. And what else am I buying at that time? You always have to be buying and selling. You know, for me, sitting on an inventory of rentals and not having any type of transactions where liquidity is happening is not good for me. So I need to keep things going where there's always a liquidity event. So, you know, always be selling.
So I love it. So it sounds like to me that you're really marry the numbers, not the property, right? So you're marrying the actual investment, you're marrying the actual profit aspect that you are, calculating through your formulas versus, oh, I love this location, I love how this property looks, I wish I could make money on it, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just money management, moving. People look at properties. I'm looking at how to move this money around, how to keep turning the money around and do certain things. It's not about, how many properties you own, it's how are you moving that money around and return you're making on that money. Because ultimately that's what it is, right? I mean, the property is the underlying asset, but you got to keep that money churning. For me, I run a fund. So I have investors, and I always have to make sure that, the fund stays profitable and, I have enough assets in there. Yeah. So it's a money game.
Okay, got it. So pretty much you're in it for the actual the game of it. It sounds like, and you're super excited about real estate. You love it and the whole niche of it. And you originally, how did you start in? Like, did you have the same mindset that you have right now that you had before? And like, if you didn't, how did it change and how do you improve? Right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the mindset. Like you said, you want to, it's all about the deals, and you were just talking about, 18 unit building. For some people, that's a big property, right? How did you come to that? Like, how did you get to the level where you were investing to the level you are now?
Yeah, it's the people who you hang around, really, that is what helped you grow, right? And network is your net worth. I mean, I started to see more growth when I started to get around different people. I'm in a few masterminds. I spend, $100,000 a year. I'm in a couple of masterminds. So for me, that's the constant investment that I make in myself, to get around these people who are on a different level. And I didn't always have that mindset. I would always say, well, I can go and watch a couple of YouTube videos. I can just go to a couple of seminars and take notes and, try to shadow this person and figure it out. But ultimately, if you can, use a mastermind as a brain trust, you really get to level up, because you guys share resources, challenges that you have, and then everything else. So that's really what catapulted me to the next level, is, the various masterminds that I'm a part of, help me grow and help me build strategies and stuff. But it comes from experience also. Like I said, I've been doing this 20 years, man. It's like, it's been a long journey. I got a few lumps and learned from those lumps, and really, I have a passion for real estate. So for me, I love what I do. So, it's just really trying to figure out what's next. Right. I think my biggest problem is I'm never satisfied. I always want to figure out, once I get to the top, I want to climb higher.
Right.
And I think that's my biggest challenge. And, that has helped me pivot the different marketplace. Right. So I would say, for somebody who's new, right, I guess this is the core audience who's listening. For somebody who's new, really try to build mastery in one space before you jump all over the place. Right. So I did fix and flips. When the market crashed, I was forced to be a landlord. I didn't like it at the time because I didn't understand it. I didn't have processes. I literally was driving around, knocking on the door, collecting rent. That's in 2008, 2009, which was stupid, especially the areas where I was investing. So, and then I started doing short sales and stumbled upon the note business. And when I learned the note business, I stuck with that for at least 3 years straight and built mastery on it. I mean, I still did flips here and there, but not at the level that I'm doing now. But I focused on that, laser beam focus, built processes, systems, everything else. And then once I did that, I started to go back into doing the flips and the rentals and everything else. And for me, the tax lien is just another way for me to acquire the property, right? And I only buy tax liens on stuff that's vacant and dilapidated. So you have a lot of contractors, probably some guys who's listening to this interview right now. They're rehabbing projects. They're delinquent on their taxes. They borrow money from the hard money lender. They say, I'm going to pay the taxes when I sell it. That's a bad thing. You know what I mean? So you kind of want to keep current with it. At least don't let it run past, 3/4, whatever. There's always someone out there who's looking to buy tax liens. And sometimes people get caught up. I've got houses where guys gutted the whole house out, framed it all out, and, put brand new windows, new roof, new siding, fell behind the construction. Now they have tax lien on the property and they lost it. Right? Because they drawed it and come through, they couldn't finish it or whatever. Maybe they didn't have the experience to do the rehab. The hard money lender didn't redeem it for some reason, and they got foreclosed in a tax auction. So I've gotten properties like that. So, but it just all comes with experience.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's great point of view. Like, nice gems that you pretty much provided to us. So today's topic is pretty much success, tax lien investing, right? So let's say a new person, right? He finds out that tomorrow is, or next week on Thursday is a tax lien sale going on auction. What does this newbie do, right? How does he get prepared? What kind of homework is he doing? Is he going to the bank, getting certified checks? What exactly is going on? Can he bring cash to the table, at the auction? How does this all work? Like, what is a person, like, let's say myself, right? I want to go out to an auction next week on Thursday. What happens? What do I do? How do I do my homework?
Yeah, it's a due diligence process. I mean, first is, for me, I check the property to make sure the property is there, right? And then once I go to the property, I really want to go to the tax office and find out more about this, right? One of the challenges that I have, huh?
So there's a list of homes that you would get first.
Yeah, so I would actually go to I would figure out, get information on the auction. I would get the property list. Then I would go drive the properties, look at the properties, see which ones I'm interested in. Then I would go to the tax office and inquire more about the property because, some people may run title, but title is not really going to tell you certain things you'll find out at the tax office. For example, someone can have purchased a prior tax lien and didn't pay the subsequent taxes, because when you buy a tax lien, you should pay the subsequent taxes because you earn interest on the subs, right? You earn interest on the tax lien you buy, and then every time you pay taxes, you earn interest on that. So if somebody redeem, you earn in that up to 18% interest on all the taxes as long as you keep paying it. But some people just have enough money to buy the tax lien and they don't pay the subs. So then those taxes fall behind, and then that goes to auction, and then someone purchased that at auction. Now I would say you want to find out if it's a lien before you, because I've lost deals where I didn't do that due diligence. And basically I'm like, okay, this is a $70,000 lien. No one is going to get this. The property is like so beat up. I got this, and I was excited. And 1 week before the redemption period, 1 week before the date to get the final judgment, it was redeemed. And I'm like, wow, what happened? The prior lien holder redeemed the taxes.
Wow.
It's a prior lien. They didn't mention that at the auction. They should have disclosed that. No, I should have actually went in and did due diligence to figure out if there was any liens that was prior to my lien, sewer lien, whatever, right? Because some people buy small little $200 sewer liens on a property. You can buy small lien, you can foreclose from a water sewer lien, not even a tax lien. People don't even know that. But anyway, basically that happened, and now your process would be to go in the tax office. Hey, are there any other liens that's superior to this lien that's being auctioned? They will give you that information. Once you find it out, you can still bid on it if you want, but you know it is a possibility that it could be redeemed, right? So I would weed out those first, and I would look at the ones that's just the main lien and how long this taxes has been delinquent. I'm looking at stuff to buy stuff that is at least 3 years or more, right? Because it's accumulated. Jersey has really expensive property taxes in some of the worst areas. So if somebody didn't pay taxes in 3 years, okay, and the property is beat up, it's hard for them to come back. You can actually have a title company, if you're cool with them, hey, run a quick search, and they'll tell you if there's any other liens on the property, mortgages. And if it's a hard money lender or someone else, they may redeem it also because they have equitable interest. So you kind of want to do your due diligence and see if there's any prior tax liens or any other liens that can redeem you. And then a homeowner can redeem you also. One other thing you have to look out for is the title raiders. There's guys out there that's like, they skip trace stuff. They get phone numbers. They're sending text messages, postcards, and all that other direct to seller stuff. They get a seller who got nothing to lose. They losing their property through tax lien. Now the person offered them, hey, I want to buy this property. Let's put it under contract and pay off the lien. So, you have to be, careful for that as well. Because the only person that can redeem the lien is the homeowner and or the any other lien holders. But some people do illegal stuff. They call them title raiders, where they, give the homeowner money to redeem the lien, illegally. And basically you can lose money that way also. But there's a lot of risk that's involved, but if you know how to do it, it's a lot of rewards also. And it's very profitable. Very profitable.
So there's actually, Dawn said a lot of good information. Thank you for tuning in and giving us your feedback. She also had a question. She goes, in the age of COVID, are you still visiting the tax offices with the limited staff and ours, or are there alternative methods that you are setting up to obtain this information, right? Because you mentioned you actually go physically to the courts and to the offices and actually getting the data. How are you adapting to the current days?
Yeah, so I mean, the tax office is open for business. They still collecting property taxes. I mean, during COVID, they were closed, right? So auctions happen certain times of the year. They usually happen first quarter for the end of the year, delinquent taxes, whatever is delinquent for 2020, that auction would be in 2021. Special tax lien auctions happen certain times of the year, so you have to get with the urban department or whichever department at township or municipality to figure out when are those auctions and get on their list.
And how do you find out those auctions or that list? How do you?
Yeah, you have to go to the tax office and inquire that information. They will give them to you. Now, what I had to do is fill out the development of a developer package, basically to show them that I am a developer. I fix these properties. You have to put a package together, and then if you approve, then you essentially get on the list. Some townships are just easy. You know, you just get on a regular list and pretty much go from there.
Do you feel like motivated towns, the towns who come up faster, are kind of more of a lenient, or it's like if you are or not, they want to put you on a list as soon as possible, versus towns that are very saturated and already up and coming, they are a little more of a barriers of entry?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very competitive also. It's very, very competitive. So you have to be aware of that. That's why I like to go to the special tax lien auctions, because it forces you to repair the property. So it's a long game, right? It's a long game. You have to wait 10 months to a year to first foreclose on it. And then you may spend another 3-4 months rehabbing it, right? And then it may take you another 2 months or whatever to rent it out. So, you know, you're talking like almost a year and a half, 2 years, you know, so a lot of people they can't go the long game. So if you can go the long game and you got the bag where you can actually just go in and pay cash for these properties, then that's something you can do. If you can partner with people, you know, and do this, then it's a great strategy. But it's the long game. It's not a get rich quick thing. And that's any real estate. It's a long game. You know, even
your niche is pretty much, you know, your niche is pretty much waiting it out, right? You're being persistent. You want to make sure that, you know, those who are in it, you know, to win it really fast are not your competitors. Your competitors are very specific niche, and you're one of those guys who loves to actually wait it out, see it, and actually make improvements. So that's a really interesting point of view.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have the carrying costs, right? If you're borrowing money, you got to be able to pay the interest. You got to continue to pay the taxes. You got to keep the construction going. So it's a lot. You know, you got to have a bag to be able to be in the space, you know?
So you've been in the business for 2 decades now, 20 years. And let's say if you were able to talk to yourself, you know, 20 years prior, you know, what would you recommend to yourself? What would you say, hey, start in this, or do this, or, you know, learn this? What would those words be to yourself?
Well, first it would be to make sure that you get around the right people, because before the market crash, I wasn't attending, you know, expos, and I wasn't attending, you know, events where I kind of learned about the market. I was just self-taught. You know, I really didn't start going to meetups and stuff until really, I would say 2010. You know what I mean? It's only been like 10 years since I went to my first meetup. I was like, what is this? What is it about? Okay. But before that, I mean, I started in 99. Before that, the first 11 years, I kind of just self-taught, you know, learned by experience, boots on the ground. And it was a major difference. And I think a lot of people nowadays, where you have expos like this one and everything else, where all of the education and everything is brought to you sitting at home in the comfort of your home, you know, it helps you grow faster, right? But really just staying focused on one thing. There's a lot of people who like a lot of shiny objects and, oh, I want to do this, or I want to do that, I want to do wholesale, and then they're a master of none. So really focus on one thing. One thing I would tell myself, really going back, like the question you asked, is I would put myself around people that were definitely on a different level to kind of learn from their mistakes. So it would kind of save me for some of the pitfalls that I went through, right? That's pretty much it. Really getting around the people who are experienced. That's what's going to help you grow.
So what I'm getting from what you're saying is pretty much make sure you network, right? Be around people who are like-minded, who want to grow. And the second thing is take action, right? Because if you take, you know, continuously educate, and over-educate yourself, you're not taking action, no rewards are coming to you.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, a lot of people are afraid of things like note investing, tax liens. They like the regular vanilla. I can buy the property, I can touch it, fill it. You know, if you don't pay me the money, I can take back the property. You know, I don't want to invest in paper tax liens because I don't know. But then they want to make the 18%, right?
Right.
They want to make the 18%, but they don't want to take, you know, the risk to do it. So,
Right.
you know, it's guys like me who will go over the hill and get the arrows in the back first and say, hey, listen, I built the process. You know, here's the road. I built the road. Now you can walk on it, you know?
Perfect. Yeah, no, I love that. So it sounds like you found your character. And how long do you think, and when I say your character, I mean, like, it seems like you found your niche. You found what you love. You love real estate overall, but what you're doing right now is something that you're tapping into something you love, right? You're the type of person that doesn't mind waiting. He doesn't mind, you know, putting all the plans into action. So in reality, how did you find your niche? How did you find yourself?
Well, I mean, how did I find myself or a niche in real estate?
Well, either one.
I'm still looking for myself.
Whatever, not too personal.
I'm still trying to become that warrior. Warrior is one who conquers oneself. That's an everyday mission. But I mean, as far as real estate, for me, it's really everything, all the tools in the toolbox that I can use, especially during COVID. I'm just using what I know of my 20 year experience. I still do note investing. I still do fix and flips. I have rentals. Tax liens for me is just another way to get the property, right? It's not like, okay, I'm doing all tax lien. A lot of my buddies who run funds, they have a fund who does, you know, private lending. They have a fund who just do tax lien. They don't do anything else. My current fund that I have is a hybrid, right? In this vehicle, I'm allowed to buy tax liens. I'm allowed to buy paper from the banks, notes. I'm allowed to buy properties so I can rehab and flip them and or buy them and hold them for cash flow. So it's a hybrid of these different things, which creates diversity, which is essentially a buffer or a hedge against, you know, whatever is to come. So, you know, that's pretty much that. When I kind of went through Q1 of COVID, I got a chance to really test out the hybrid model because I had all these different assets in this vehicle. So that was great. But I always go back to create mastery in one thing first, build processes and systems before you move on to the next. And then you can do things at the same time. As long as you have a process system in place, I'm in a good team. You know, my team is really good.
Perfect. So we have very little time left, and I want to touch on two things you mentioned. One is team, and the two is process. So what is a team for you? What does it look like? Who do you have in your team? And again, going back to 20 years younger you, what would you tell him who he should be focusing on team wise?
I mean, for me, I was a jack of all trades. I did everything. Nowadays, I have asset managers, administrative people, portfolio managers, people who do due diligence. I outsource a lot to vendors, and my team is, you know, realtors, because I do a lot of stuff out of state with the paper. So I have attorneys, realtors, document custodians, loan servicers. Those are like the power team. And then my internal team is like administrative people who manage the data. I have asset managers and a portfolio manager, a property manager. We do in-house property management. So that's really what my team consists of as far as real estate. But really learning how to leverage vendors was key for me to make a pivot of having a 12-person staff to now a 6-person staff, and just leveraging vendors and data really is what's important. And processes and systems, you can't do anything without that.
Right.
So everything should have a process, like, you know, that you just
exactly.
You know,
so it sounds like you don't mind paying to those who you know, part of your team, who bring you money. So that's an awesome thing. And a lot of people like get hung up on that, you know, oh, 6% commission or 3% commission on the agent, but you have to realize he's bringing you a deal. He's bringing you future, you know, and more deals to come. So the second question I have is pretty much tools. What tools are you using, and what would you recommend? You know, are there softwares you're using that you would recommend? What are you using on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so we use a couple of things. We use AppFolio for our rental software. It's really great. We use Podio. Podio has been really great. We customize a lot of that stuff. We use a lot of add-ons with Podio as well. But you know, that's the work. You know, that's pretty much it. Is really Podio, and then whatever add-ons we have at Podio. And we have a lot of skip tracing software and a lot of different things we do, TLO, and a variety of tools that we use for collections in the note space and for due diligence and everything else. We have scrapers that scrape values like in 5 minutes for, like, you know, 250 or 500 properties. we do bankruptcy tools. We use Pacer. We use a variety of different stuff to kind of do due diligence, with the assets that we buy. So, but the main CRM tool is Podio. There's a lot of great Salesforce. There's a lot of great tools out there you can use, to keep you accountable and, process map and time block.
Awesome. Now, for those who want to get in touch with you, I know sometimes people ask, do you do mentorship or anything like that? They want to get in touch with you or your team or how to kind of contact your company. How would they be able to reach out to you and get in touch with you?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm all over social media. Just put my name in, Fuquan Bilal. You can check out my Instagram, my Facebook. My company is nngcapitalfund.com. You can go there and find out more information about us.
Okay, awesome. So do you have any mentorship programs or anything like that?
No, I don't have any mentorship programs.
But if people have questions, they could reach out to you. You would be able to reply to them?
Oh, for sure.
Awesome.
I definitely, help people. They can come chat on my Instagram and pretty much, go from there. Also, I don't know if I can put in the chat. Is it somewhere I can post in here?
Yeah, so you're probably looking at the private chat on the right side. You say comments. If you go on comments on the bottom, say post a comment. Go ahead and post a comment if you want to share something.
On the bottom of comments, let me see.
Yeah.
I wanted to give away a free book. So
awesome.
It says comments, but it's not allowing me to do that. On a private chat, how about I post in the private chat and then
and I'll forward it.
Yeah. Did you get it?
Give me 1 second. All right.
Talks about the different types of investing, tax liens, fix and flips, buying holds, and all that stuff.
You can see it or not?
I'm sorry?
I just posted it. I don't know if you can see it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a free book. You guys can go. That's my latest book I wrote. I'll be grateful if you guys leave a comment on Amazon about the book, good or bad, doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you're sharing and you're taking action, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you again for all your feedback and all your information. Fuquan Bilal, you have been amazing. Definitely some gems you threw out there. A lot of information from the team, from the systems you're using, how to be successful in tax lien investing. And it really comes down to it where you've been really grateful and resourceful. So I strongly suggest for you guys to reach out to Fuquan Bilal and make sure that you stay connected, right? Because it's all about being persistent. It's all about taking action. And again, thank you for your time. You've been really, really informative.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care.
All right.
Love it. Where is the book link? I just posted in a comment. If you look up by Nick Tang. nngcapitalfund.com/free-book. I'll post it up again, and again you guys can reach out. Just Google his name. So pretty much FUQUANBILAL. And again, you're on Facebook, Instagram, where else? YouTube, I'm guessing.
YouTube. Yep. You go to YouTube. I got some stuff there, free content on note investing. And basically tax liens, I haven't done like any public, this is my first actually public presentation on tax liens. Like I said, I've known about it for 12 years, but I just started taking action on it 2.5 years ago. So, my track record with actually taking action with tax liens is 2.5 years ago, purchased close to 40 tax liens. There's a lot of experience in that over the last 2.5 years.
Perfect. If you want, you can actually stay on. I'm going to jump off. I'm going to the next interview. If you want, I can just come off. You can continue to talk and share more information if you'd like. If not, you guys can reach out to Fuquan and move forward. So again, guys, my name is Yarek. Thank you for being here. I'm going to come out, and Fuquan, it's up to you if you want to continue or not. But again, guys, thank you. And thank you again for your time and sharing your gems with us.
Appreciate it. Got to make a run. I definitely appreciate you guys. I got to do some stuff with the kids. It's Saturday, so I want to do that.
So perfect. Thank you again. Thank you for your time. Be good.
All right, guys.
Stay safe. Take care. Bye, guys.